Hello everybody to lesson 19 of HTML5 Deep Understanding course. In this lesson we'll understand the lists in HTML. Let's go and see what we have. I've said before that we have two types of lists in HTML. We have ordered list and unordered list. The ordered list is written like OL, means ordered list, and the unordered list written like UL, means unordered list. Today we'll study more details about these things. Firstly, we'll start with the unordered list. The unordered list, to be modified and to build an unordered list, you should firstly write the unordered list tag. Then you should write inside the unordered list some items like li, some lists. So here you could write, for example, apple, or for example you write apple. Okay, then save it. Then when you reload it, you will see that there is a list. So how we could control this bullet? We could control this bullet with some styles called list style type. We will study it now. This is the default. By default it's a bullet, but we could change it to another thing. For example, here I will say style, that we have studied, style list, style type, and by default it's dis. Okay, so disc is by default, which is bullet. We'll write it, save, reload. We have the same. We have, by the way, before we start, we have disc, and we have the other one which is circle, and the other one which is square, and the last one which is none, which means no one of that thing. So the first thing we'll try the disc, and then refresh, it's the same. Okay, the second we will try the other one, which is circle, which will draw a circle or an empty circles like that. The third one, which is the square, will draw a square, a list with square. The last one, which is none, which means you need only the list without any bullet or squares or any circles, will look like that. This is the unordered list. The second, which would be the ordered list. The ordered list, okay, could be the same. You should write the OL tag, which is ordered list tag. Then you should add items inside that tag. We'll say li, for example apple, like the previous lesson. Okay, and then we will duplicate it many times. Then save it. Let's say what's the default of that tag or of that item, which is ordered list. The default is 1, 2, 3, which is numeric numbers. Then we need to control that items. How we could control that items? We could control that items with something called the type. We write type, and inside the type we write something. For example, here I will write the type attribute, and inside the type attribute I will write the thing that I need. Look, here we have, for example, A, I, 1 or E or L. Okay, so I'm sorry, not L, but I capital. So we could write here, for example, I will let's empty and see what we have. We have here 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, or the numeric is the default. We could write, for example, A capital and save it. Let's see what we have. A. So he started with E, B, C, D. Okay, so it's changed. We could change it with, for example, A small. It will be with A, B, C, D, with small letters but small, alphabetical small. So if I change it like I, it will build a Romanic numbers. I, which is 2, 3, 5, 4. So this is the Romanic. If you need to write the numeric number with capital, you should write the I with capital I. The type is capital I. Okay, so now the Romanic number is capital. Okay, this is about the ordered list. Also, there is another thing in ordered list. For example, imagine that you need to start from a specific number. For example, I will start, this is another attribute. I will start, for example, from number 30, okay? And then from 30, we need 31, 32, and so on. So I will start refresh, okay? You have seen that he have changed the number from 1 to 30, 31, 32, 33. Also, the letters, you could write, for example, I need to start from S, for example. He will start from S, T, and so on. So let's refresh. Sorry. Let's start from S. And type is, for example, A, which is letters. Okay, save it. And good, see what we have. So no, it doesn't work with letters. It only works with numbers. For example, if we have started from 4, so it will work from the fourth letter, fourth alphabetical letters. Okay, so it starts from D, E, F, G. Okay, great. Even we have changed it to Romanic number like that. Save it, reload it. Okay, started from the fourth number. Okay, great. That was about the ordered list. Another thing, we have something called description list. What do we mean with description list? Description list means, we should write here a separator line. Okay. Here we have something called description list. Okay, what do we mean with description list? Description list, we write it to describe some lists, so that you could have the item, and under the item we have the description. We will know now how to define it. To define a description list, you should first write the tag description list. DL means description list. HTML is easy. For example, you should just join it with your words, the English word. For example, here we have ordered, the O for ordered, and the L for list. Here we have LI means list. Here we have description list, mean DL, description list. Inside that tag we will write another tag, which would be description term. Okay, so we have here description term. We will write here, for example, SAFHA, or for example we write, yes, let's write HTML, okay, and inside HTML. Then after that we will write some other thing, which is the description of that term. So we have here a term and need to have a description for it. To write a description, you should write description data. So we have here description term, and here we have description data. Here we have HTML. We will define it is a wonderful we could say programming, but some people say it's not a programming language. Okay, so programming language. So let's save it and reload it. Look, how is it? HTML then is a wonderful programming language. For example, imagine that you have many items like that. Okay, I will repeat it. Okay, imagine that you have many items. For example, here I write CSS, here I write C++, here I write C#, and so on. So if we save that and reload it, look, it will show you HTML and the definition of it, the description, and the other thing and the description of that thing, and also so on. So it's great to know how to write the description list in case you need to write a description or items that has a description. So it would help you in some way. The last point, or before the last point, I need to tell you about is the nested list. So, for example, if you need to write nested items, for example, the unordered list, I'll have an unordered list, okay, and I need to have nested list inside another list. So I will start with an unordered list, and inside the unordered list I will write, for example, list, and I will have, for example, programming, for example, programming language. Okay, then we have another item which will be li designing for example, programs, and for example we'll have developing, li developer, for example. Okay, so how could we add an nested list in this example? We will add here, for example, inside that list we'll add another unordered list, and we will call it programming language. We'll say another, it would be list inside another list. So inside the item which is list, we have unordered list. So in this unordered list we will write here another list which would be HTML, for example, another one which would be C++, another one would be, for example, Kotlin, and so on, or Kotlin IN, and so on. So this is unordered list items. Let's save it and refresh and see what we have. Here, look, we have programming languages, and we have here nested list inside list. We could have another list inside that. For example, the HTML, we could add here another list. For example, I will write here unordered list, and inside the unordered list I will write list. Inside the list I will write, for example, href, or let's say h1. I mean, one tag, one of the tags is h1, and another tag is, for example, h2, h3, h4, and so on. You could go and write whatever you want. Say what we have. So we have programming language, which is the list. This is the main list. Then we have HTML, which is the inside or the sub list. Then we have the h1, h3, h4, which is the inside, the third level list. So in this case we could write the list that we want. Okay, so imagine that you want to write in the list, you need to write, for example, an image or another header or anything. For example, here I need to write here, for example, header h1. Okay, so I could write whatever I need to be written. For example, save it and reload it. Look, it print the tag that I have written. For example, I need to add image. I write here is an image. For example, I will write an image tag. I write image source and close it. I will say here the image, for example, whatever. I will say image 5, this one, and I will see here the size. The width of the image would be, for example, 100, and the height would be also 100 pixel. 100 pixel too. Let's save it and see what we have. Let's reload it. Look what we have. One of the items is an image, another one is h2, another one is normal. I could add, for example, paragraph and add whatever I want. So it's easy to add whatever you want. It's enough for this lesson, and see you in the next. Bye.